Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a movie that doesn't get nearly the attention it deserves, frankly, for a number of reasons that I'll go into. And it's a 1977 British crime horror movie, a true story adaptation of the reign of terror of the Black Panther. So the movie was directed by Ian Merrick and it stars Donald Sumter as Donald Neilson, the titular Black Panther, a serial killer who terrified the heart of central England throughout the early to mid 70s. Essentially, Donald Neilson is a man who is out of work. He suffered terrible bullying as a child. He's a former soldier, you know, he's highly trained. He spends most of his free time on kind of improvised manoeuvres throughout the rural areas of England. You know, doing all sorts of intense training on himself, and he uses this training to rob post offices in kind of the Midlands. He commits a string of murders along the way, killing postmasters, and eventually decides to take on a kidnapping as a big payoff for himself. He kidnaps a young girl, Leslie Whittle, who recently inherited a large sum of money following her father's death, and demands a £50,000 ransom in return for her safe release. Now, I wasn't all too familiar with this film for you know, the reason being that it was kind of blacklisted in Britain in the late 70s. It came out in 1977, very soon after the events of the film took place for real, and it looks at the case in a very true to life detail. You know, this film proudly follows the facts as they are known. You know, this boils down to the fact that, you know, I checked out a documentary on Donald Neilson pretty much straight after watching the movie in order to kind of get the true story, as it were. And, you know, a lot of the kind of reconstruction scenes in the documentary seem to come straight from the film. So whether the film itself has influenced the kind of the memory of the events, or the movie itself is based as purely on fact as can be, I don't know. I would imagine it is the latter, though. It does seem like the filmmakers have gone to an effort to tell the story in as true a fashion as possible, you know, taking as little artistic license as possible with the crimes as they happened. Yeah, the movie, kind of as a result of that, was vilified in the media of the day. Sue Lawley famously said on the Tonight programme that she'd seen the film and thought it was sick. Turns out she hadn't seen the film. She was just commenting based on reports of its content and, you know, based on the fact that people seem to be vilifying this movie, so she should agree as a upstanding member of the BBC. You know, as a result, the film was never entered, it was never distributed, and it's taken all this time and all these years for the movie to finally be brought to people's attention and regarded in the way that it perhaps should be, you know, as a really, really good, disturbing crime horror movie. The movie is stylishly shot, I've got to say, in not in a kind of particularly elegant way, but in a way of it tackles these things in such a way that it feels like you're there. You know, the scenes where, you know, the jobs go wrong, for instance, and end in a murder, are really, really quite jarring. You know, they're really genuinely scary. You know, the scenes of this, you know, man in balaclava shooting, you know, these people dead with a sawn-off shotgun is really, really quite intense. And, you know, part of that, I guess, comes from knowing that this movie took as much care as possible to retell the story in an unexploitative way and to give you the facts of what happened, I guess. And that really is one of the key reasons why I think this movie's treatment was so unfair, was that it's not an exploitation movie, it's a movie that tells the story as truly as it can, and kind of the only real reason that it could possibly have been so controversial amongst the more upstanding sections of the press is that it was so close to the proximity of the story that it's telling actually happening for real. You know, the movie's true to life, even down to the point where a lot of times there's very little dialogue in order to avoid anything that wouldn't have been said being said. You know, it takes a certain amount of artistic license in terms of, you know, Leslie's experience down in the kind of sewer type thing where she's kept. But, you know, the movie doesn't even go to any great lengths, you know, regarding her death. It doesn't actually show her die, you know, the movie, because no one really knows how that happened. You know, there's no witness account or anything like that. The only account that there is Neilson's. I've got to say, I think had this movie gotten a release that it deserved and had been viewed as the really strong movie that it should have been viewed as, this potentially would be considered a classic by now. I really do think that's the case. I think that, you know, it was treatment like this that really stunted British horror through the 70s and 80s. And the Black Panther, I think, would be considered a classic movie if not for that kind of, you know, hollow outcry. You know, in terms of reconstructions of an event, this is how you do it, I think. I think movies that try to retell a true story could learn an awful lot from this movie. You know, we hear a lot of the based on a true story thing in horror, whereas this movie is a true story. It's not based on anything. For me, without a doubt, The Black Panther is a 9 out of 10 movie. I think this is a movie that you should watch. It's a really, really great movie. In fact, I'm going to leave a link to the BFI Player Plus, where this movie is available in its entirety for free, provided you sign up to the 30-day free subscription on the BFI Player website. You can cancel at any time, so it's not like you've got to go up to make the first payment in order to, you know, get it. You can cancel just before or whatever. But there's a lot of good films on there actually, so I would recommend it in general, but that's one of the places that you can check out the Black Panther if you want to. And you should want to, because it's a great movie. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Luke Ennis. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please go down in the description, check out my podcast. It's called Ironcast. It's all about music and I think you'll really enjoy it. Also go and check out my wish list if you feel like ordering me something that I can review for you, ladies and gentlemen. That would be great. And by all means, do like, comment and subscribe, because that would be really fun. Why not join this little community that I'm trying to build up here? Thanks very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you again very soon.